How do we help this guy get his body from being restricted and painful to moving better and feeling better? This is Dennis, and he says he can't sit without back pain. He said he broke his neck 6 years ago, and since then, he hasn't been able to sit in a chair longer than a couple of minutes. If that wasn't bad enough, he has incredible shoulder pain. The pain here in his right shoulder is an 8 out of 10. His left arm was even worse. He couldn't raise it up very high. It was a searing 9 out of 10 for pain. We decided to try a corrective exercise recipe to see if we could help him get some relief. Here's what we did. We retested him right away. When he sat down, he couldn't believe how much better his back felt.
Wow.
He can now sit longer so he can live his life better. And his right shoulder had improved dramatically. Also, do you remember how his left side was? Check out how much better he is now. Don't settle for a life sentence. Pain-free as possible, and it can be easier than you think when you do the right things. Here's a guy that couldn't bench press because of aches and pains. This is Anderson, and he experienced shoulder pain doing that test. On this test, his hips were giving out. He scored them a 3 out of 10 on strength. He was also complaining of back pain. During his shoulder mobility test, he complained of more shoulder pain, and his hip mobility was very limited. But on a positive note, he has nice shoes. We took him through a corrective recipe. I told him we'd get a good buzz from doing this posture drill.
Oh, I'm dizzy. That's nice.
And here's the other drills we took him through. Remember the hip mobility test? Without doing any stretches, look how much better his hip mobility got. Remember how weak his hips were? They were 3 out of 10, but now they're a 10 out of 10, and listen to this.
My lower back pain went away too.
His shoulder mobility test was also pain-free, and do you remember how this test gave him pain before?
No shot. Oh my God. I can bench press now.
We were lucky to catch this squatting success story on camera. It was a beauty. This is Amilcar, and he's a beauty too. He complained of SI joint pain and general stiffness when he squats. An assessment showed a significant anterior pelvic tilt, which could be the cause. Also, he flunked this quad flexibility test. To address Amilcar's hip issue, we started with a lat stretch of all things. We did the Spider-Man stretch, goalie groin, then bowing to Buddha to crank the pelvis back into alignment, and we finished with leg lowering. Time to retest. Check out the improvement in his pelvic tilt. That now looks normal. And even though we didn't do quad stretches, his quads are now like butter. And most importantly, he felt better and had better mobility and better form on his squats. So what do you have when you sharpen a pencil? A good point. And here's the point of the story. The right assessment can tell you the right stretches and exercises to tap into your potential. And now that Amilcar is tapped in, it's time for some tap dancing. Twilight, a dance instructor, experiences knee pain on her left side while lunging. She rates the pain a 5 out of 10. We discovered that Twilight's left kneecap sits higher than her right. She also gets knee pain when twisting, which is very limiting for her as a dance instructor. I was going to ask her about diet, but Twilight has 5 kids, so I figure she probably just eats the stuff her kids don't finish. As a busy mom, Twilight is used to putting everyone else first, but we decided to put her first by putting her through the following posture correctives: puking flamingo, patellar tendon massage, quad drumming, downward dog gas pedals, and knee hug hip extensions. We retested, and Twilight's kneecap height evened out. She feels better when twisting, and as a big step forward, she now feels good when she lunges. Busy moms like Twilight quietly live heroic lives of giving to others, and it's so fulfilling to help the helpers. This dance goes out to you all. Here's a really bizarre human pyramid success story. That's Rebecca in the back, and she just wants to be the tippy top of this pyramid, but there's just one problem: Rebecca's left shoulder. It's painful and it gives out. She also has a pain in the neck. But here's the weird thing: when her left leg is forward, the shoulder and neck issue improves dramatically. We think a twisted posture might be holding her back from human pyramid glory, and we gotta solve this so that that human pyramid is no longer pointless. Here's the corrective recipe: outer hip stretch left, TFL percussions right, hip extensions right, anti-rotation ball slaps, wait for it, these high heel anti-rotation thingies, twisted calf raises, supraspinatus isos. Check it out, the shoulder is now steady, stable, and pain-free. It was literally a tomb-in-it solution. Get it? Straight to the tippy top. Sky is the limit for Rebecca now that her shoulder problem is solved. And just like building a pyramid, sometimes solving pain means you gotta start at the bottom and build your way up.
Let's go!
You gotta hear how we helped this jack dude get elbow pain relief with just a few little exercises. Malcolm dislocated his right shoulder playing rugby when he was 16. He's had shoulder and elbow issues ever since. Nobody's figured it out. We found his right sternoclavicular joint was unstable and his collarbone angle was too flat, which can compress and scissor the underlying nerves. On this test, he had 5 out of 10 elbow pain, and on this test, he had 8.5 out of 10 elbow pain. And while I was assessing him, I noticed that Malcolm smelled terrific. It's funny because it's true. Good for you, Malcolm. For his correctives, we did deltoid tubercle percussions, we did SI joint stabilizations, we did these reverse fly, pec fly isometrics, and to create healthy space under the collarbone, we did these upper trap activations and exercises. At one point, he got a pop in his shoulder doing these, but we feel like it was a lucky pop. On the first test, he went from 5 out of 10 elbow pain to no pain at all. In the next test, his elbow pain reduced from 8.5 out of 10 to 1 out of 10. Pain-free is possible, and now he's on his way there. Believe in your dreams, Malcolm. This is Katie, and her back pain had her feeling a little crummy.
I thought I was gonna vomit from pain in my low back.
But instead of tossing the cookies, she became a tough cookie. This is Katie's back pain story. An assessment revealed that she had a significant anterior pelvic tilt, which may have been putting pressure on her back. In addition, her hips were really unstable, and most importantly, just standing gave Katie back pain. She scored it a 7 out of 10. When we're feeling unwell, sometimes exercise is the very medicine we need. So we did an experiment with the following corrective movements. We retested. Posturally, her improvement in anterior pelvic tilt went from excessive to normal. Her hip strength was feeling frail to now feeling rock solid. And let's hear from her on how her back pain is doing.
In about 5 minutes, Brendan took me from a 7 to 8 out of 10 pain to a 0. And now I feel fantastic.
She's no longer feeling crummy. She's a tough cookie. The assessments and correctives were a batch made in heaven. Katie has lived it, learned it. Now she's ready to pass on the medicine. Here's the crazy true story about how we helped Guillaume get pain-free. This is Guillaume, and he was experiencing severe hip pain that he rated as a 9.5 out of 10. He claimed to have a right hip instability we tested, and he scored it a 6 out of 10. He also reported a lateral ankle instability. We tested it, he scored it a 5. We also discovered a new issue, a side-to-side difference in hip mobility. To address these issues, here's what we did. Left outer hip mobilizations, right TFL percussions, knee hug hip extensions, turnstile plank with a bonus tickle and a boop, elf shoe hip bridges, high heel anti-rotations. After completing these exercises, Guillaume's right hip scored a 10 out of 10. His right ankle also scored a 10 out of 10. The mobility in his left hip had also improved. Most importantly, Guillaume's hip pain had completely disappeared, going from a 9.5 to a 0. This improvement in quality of life allowed him to return to his normal activities and help others feel better as well. And isn't that what it's all about? She's been getting pain in her right shoulder. She's gone to the doctor. How long has this been going on for? 15 years. This is how we helped Simran. Her right shoulder was giving out on this assessment. She scored it only a 1 out of 10 on strength. To confirm, we tested it again, but I had to tickle her belly just to lighten the mood. Tickle. All right. We call that maneuver the Pillsbury Doughboy. Her right shoulder was giving out on this test. She scored it a 5 or 6 out of 10. Here's the corrective recipe we used to help her out. After the correctives, we retested her shoulder. This time she was ready to defend against the Pillsbury Doughboy. She did not get another belly tickle, but she did get way stronger. Now check out her reaction on the next test.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
How'd that feel?
11, 12.
Technically speaking, the numbers 11 and 12 do not fit on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe she doesn't understand the math, but Simran now understands how to help herself and how to help others. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Matt might not make it as a runway model because his right hip doesn't move very well on this gait assessment. You can really see a big difference in his arm swing too. His physical assessment also revealed he gets a twinge in his low back during this test, and he's a little wobbly and unstable on some of his function tests. We took his scores from the assessment, then looked at the legend on these cool sheets. The sheet recommended specific stretches and warm-ups we should do to balance him out. The sheet also told us specific exercises to do. After following the sheet, we retested everything. His function testing went from wobbly to solid and stable. Even the mustache people were impressed. This test previously gave him pain in the back, but now he says that the pain is completely gone. We revisited the gait assessment, and he's now strutting with good symmetry. He also won some big spectacles to help bring out his eyes for his runway modeling, now that he's moving and feeling better. ETA, we give a sheet. This is how we all helped save Maria's birthday. Maria is a personal trainer who gets knee pain when she squats. In addition to getting her a birthday cake, we wanted to get her pain-free squatting for her special day. We did an assessment and found she has a little bit of knock-knee posture. On her hip test, she scored herself a 2 out of 10 on one side and a 4 out of 10 on the other. But I said she's being way too hard on herself. I would have given her a 2.5 and a 4.5. By the way, only one person in the audience laughed at that little joke of mine. We did a knock-knee corrective series. A common mistake is that people might do only one adductor stretch, but we loosen all the adductors with a series of stretches to do a more complete job. We also do an exercise that hits all 3 glute muscles. One glute drill to rule them all. That's a Lord of the Rings reference. Again, only one person laughed, so I almost walked home after that. Glad I came back though, because when we retested everything, her hips had gone from a 2 and 4 out of 10 to a 9.5 out of 10 on both sides. And the best part is she's now pain-free on squats for her special day. High fives and birthday cake for everybody. Best birthday ever. This is how Katie got rid of her neck pain, straightened out her low back, and earned a fantastical prize from the mystery bag. Her low back curve was so extreme that when her body was flat to the wall, you could slide an arm through and wave at the good people on the other side of the room. Her hip stability was 2 out of 10 on the right, 3 out of 10 left. Hip flexion was 3 out of 10 left, 4.5 out of 10 right. Not strong. But mysteriously, when she straightens that excess curve in the back, everything gets stronger. We took her through the finish line, which is a corrective recipe formulated to reduce excess low back curvature, which can also take pressure off the neck. Then we retested, and her hips were strong on all of the tests. Her low back curve had straightened out. No more sliding the hand through and waving to all the good people on the other side. And from the mystery bag, she scored some unicorn socks to help her be a fashion icon.
I had neck pain before, and now my neck pain is gone. So no more neck pain, and my hip swing test was a lot stronger.
Let's go!
Here's an unbelievable story about shoulder pain relief. Drew gets pain in his right shoulder after he does any type of press. His left shoulder was so strong I could have done chin-ups off it, but his right shoulder had joint irritation, and it was about as strong as a wet paper bag. I was even able to push it down with my pinky finger. Also, his left hip was giving out. But when I had him shrug his right shoulder up, his left hip instantly got super strong. We decided to straighten out his left hip and pelvis to see if it could fix his right shoulder issue. You might not understand how this could work, but that's okay. I don't understand how alternating current works, but here I am turning the lights off and on. We'll get results first and we can understand it all later. After the correctives, his left hip was super strong. There's a random dude swinging for joy. And even though we did hip correctives, his shoulder joint irritation was completely gone now, and it felt way stronger. There's some happy feet. The moral of the story is that sometimes a chronic shoulder problem is actually a hip problem. More swinging for joy, more happy feet, and a few smiles all around. Who stole Keisha's cheese? Keisha is a personal trainer who's been dealing with chronic pain for 4 years, despite many visits to doctors and therapists. That's okay, Keisha. It was nacho time yet. She has anterior knee pain, medial knee pain. She's limited on quad flexibility, and she has a sharp pain in the low back. We did the following correctives to make things cheddar. Keisha thought the corrective movements were a little bit cheesy. Keeping with the theme, I slipped her some cheese. After finishing the correctives, her knees were already feeling better. Then it occurred to her that the cheese is gone. Luckily, I just happened to have some extra to give her. All good. You know what else is good? Look at her quads now. And the best part? No back pain.
I've been in pain for 4 years now. These guys have changed my life, honestly.
Don't shed her tear. You're going to make me cry.
Things were actually so much better because it's mind-blowing.
And now the future looks Gouda. This is Brennan, and he's been experiencing a catastrophe.
For 3 months, I've been dealing with sciatica. It's pain all down my leg, and I'm not able to do things that I used to do, and it's really affected my life.
Also, that's his cat Pika. Ain't she purty? Brennan was perplexed on what to do next, so we did some assessments to determine the perfect solution. Everything was giving out, and he was getting furry tired. Here's how we addressed his issue. We retested, and look how strong he is. Meow. Are you kidding me? He couldn't do that before. What a positive outcome.
It's been 2 days and he's fixed my sciatica. It's like unbelievable. Like I can't even describe it. The knowledge he has and he's able to offer is like life-changing, literally.
Enough about me. Let's get back to that cat. Johnny has a shoulder and it's no good. He says it hasn't been good for 6 or 7 years. We tested his shoulder and it nearly blew my eardrum with a loud pop. He scored it a 4.5 out of 10 on strength, plus it was really painful. We theorized the problem was a postural twist, so we did the following corrective recipe. This one's my favorite right here. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Boop. Got him, good. We finished with marching hip bridges and twisting pukers to the left. Then we went back to retesting his right shoulder. It had gone from a 4.5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 on strength. And the best part is, there was no pain at all. Pain-free as possible when you do the right things, and just like that, Johnny be good. Proper breathing can do magic in the body. This is Leslie, and her hips were giving out on this test. She scored one side a 5 out of 10 and the other side a 6.5. When she does single leg knee bends, it's wobbly and it gives her knee pain. We gave her the immaculate correction and it goes like this. Low back release, combining deep breaths while mentally repeating, I am receiving love while breathing in, and I am giving love while breathing out. A front release, side release, and for removing mental restraints, we did the imaginary best friend drill. Just imagine having a friend who is all wise and all loving. They know everything about you and everything going on right now. From a place of maximum love and wisdom, what advice would this imaginary best friend have for you in this moment of life? And after all that, we retested. Hip swings were a 10 out of 10, even though we did no hip correctives, just breathing. Peg leg knee dips looked stable and no pain. Oh, and she also won Christmas socks. Okay, that's all for now, bye. Could fallen arches be the cause of long-term shoulder pain? Kyle says he's had shoulder problems for 10 years and that he's always in pain. We noticed he has flat arches in his feet. We tested his shoulders and they were very weak and very painful on both sides. We believe that everything in the body is connected in many indirect ways, from the arches all the way up to the shoulders and beyond. So we took him through a protocol for his arches to see if we could help. And when we finished the corrective sequence, both Kyle and the students said that they could see a noticeable improvement in the height of his arches, as though he had created an inner orthotic. Now listen to his reaction when we retested his shoulders.
Oh, no pain. That's sick. No pain.
All right.
First time ever. My Messiah.
Your Messiah is somewhere out there just using me to help you out. Nothing special about us. We're just showing you the potential you have to help people out. This is Alex taking a bow before totally flopping on his core assessments, possibly due to a bulging disc in his low back. He scored his stability 1.5 out of 10 on each core test, but his personality is a 10 out of 10, and you'll see why later. When testing his hips, they were giving out under the pressure of a single finger. I asked him to score it 1 to 10, but the only answer he would give me is the word sucks. Here's a cool assessment. We had him rotate to the side of the disc bulge, and when he does, his hips get strong. His left shoulder had pain and weakness, but also becomes instantly strong when rotating to the side of the disc bulge. Based on his assessment findings, we did the following corrective sequence from a protocol called Bulgaria Left. This drill here is like the perfect position to feed him grapes and paint his picture. We immediately retested and check it out. 10 out of 10 on each core test. His hip stability no longer sucks. His shoulder is now strong and is pain-free. He also won some minty candy canes, which he gave to a classmate named Devin, so Devin could give them to his daughter. It was meant to be. This is how we got this guy shoulder pain-free in 3 minutes. This is AJ, and he says he's had shoulder pain for years. We tested out his right side with the empty can test, and he had 6 out of 10 shoulder pain. We tested out his left side, and his left side was 7 out of 10 shoulder pain. We did an assessment to determine the correctives to use next. The first corrective we did was the pec pecker, loosening up the pec minor muscle. Then we did a supraspinatus isometric. He's pushing the back of this hand into my thighs. And then we did an AC joint stabilizing alternating isometric for the shoulder joint. We retested him right away, and his right shoulder was 0 out of 10 pain, totally pain-free. We tested his left shoulder, 0 out of 10 pain again, totally pain-free. Awesome work. Can an imbalance in the mouth cause an imbalance in the rest of the body? Let's find out. We brought Mike up to address his misaligned pelvis. The left side was higher than the right. His evaluation revealed weak hip strength on a number of different assessments, but I recognized a particular pattern in the way his jaw moves, so we took him through jaw banks. It included several jaw stretches, which were crucial for Mike because he says he'll need to be able to open his mouth as wide as possible for his upcoming Polish family Christmas feast. Upon retesting, his previously tilted pelvis was now perfectly balanced. Additionally, there was a significant improvement in hip strength, all from doing jaw drills of all things.
All of the tension I was feeling on the one side was completely gone, and all of the testing that we did turned out 10 out of 10 strong compared to like 3 out of 10 week before. I'm feeling more comfortable just talking, which is incredible.
And to help him celebrate Polish family Christmas, we got him some pickled fish. If pain or weakness in the body isn't getting any better, the problem might be coming from somewhere else. Here's an example. This is Lou, and he'd been experiencing hip flexor issues on his left side. We tested out his right side hip flexor and it was strong. He scored it a 10 out of 10. But when we tested his left side, it was giving out and he scored it a 3 out of 10. We then had him float his hips up off the seat to decompress the spine and immediately retested him, and his hip was a 10 out of 10. But when he sits back down, it goes weak again. This test demonstrates that resolving his hip issue and getting his function back will likely require some stretches and exercises to help decompress the spine, especially because hip stretches and exercises weren't even helping. The moral of the story is that when stretches and exercises aren't helping, you might be chasing a symptom that's coming from another part of the body. But with the proper assessments, you can find the root cause so you can be more effective in helping yourself and helping others. Could your belly button be the reason your glutes aren't firing? This is Rebecca, and her glute max is giving out on the left. The glute medius and minimus also aren't firing properly. Even her hip flexors aren't activating. Here's something interesting. Her belly button is out of alignment. It's off to the right side. But here's a cool trick. When she pulls the belly button back to center, all the muscles suddenly become strong. We call this modifier the Pillsbury Doughboy. We did some naval warfare with these fascial wipes to move the belly button back to center. Then we retested everything. All her glutes were now firing properly.
I've been having lower back discomfort, especially on my right side, and just like that, I feel like I can move again, I feel free.
And now that she's no longer wrestling with her issues, Rebecca gets to wear the champion's mask and be a blessing in disguise for others.